Okay, so this is definitely going to be a different type of episode.
Sure.
This is going to be a Beau is Afraid episode.
Beau is afraid.
So before we start here, can you give some context of what we're going to be talking about and why?
Yeah, so we're talking about Ari Aster's newest movie, the director of Hereditary and Midsommar. Beau is Afraid. Came out this year around, I want to say like September, October, I believe. And it is a 4-act odyssey of a Jewish man visiting his mother. And that's what we're talking about.
Okay. So if you haven't seen Beau is Afraid, first off, Ari Aster, I've seen Hereditary and Midsommar.
Okay, what'd you think?
I loved Hereditary.
Sure.
I loved Hereditary. The
Crazy,
moment,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
All this is gonna have spoilers.
The head moment.
Yeah.
Was.
Yeah, I had to pause.
Yeah.
I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it in my old apartment, and I had to pause and then strafe for like about, I don't know, say like 10 minutes.
The anxiety of it.
Yeah, it was insane.
And the way, it was beautifully disturbing, which is another way to describe Beau is Afraid. But
sure.
But to start off with Hereditary,
yeah, it's fine.
Everything is symmetrical and perfectly in a nice little box.
Sure.
It felt like if Wes Anderson wanted to get real disturbing.
Okay.
So I really enjoyed that. Midsommar, I didn't enjoy it as much.
Why?
I don't know. I only watched it.
I didn't either.
Okay.
I mean, I liked it, but I didn't, like, it wasn't like, I mean, actually, I was pretty impressed with it. I saw it twice. Yeah. But it wasn't the same vibes as Hereditary.
Yeah, there was something about Hereditary that hooked me more.
Sure.
I think maybe I just related to how, I don't know if simple is not the way to describe it.
No, I was leaning towards that as well. There's a simplicity to Hereditary that kind of hides, I won't say hides, maybe layers over the complexities of it and the details that it provides.
We'll get into the details of things.
Right.
But and then he has one short film that he made prior to Hereditary. I can't remember what it's called.
Meeting the Johnsons.
Yes, which is, again,
very good.
Very disturbing.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing a running theme here. First off, do you know a lot about Ari Aster's backstory, his life?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because it feels like he has some mom things going on. Feels like there's something going on with his mom.
Well, yeah. It's funny, in Beau is Afraid, in the first act, when Beau gets chased by that homeless man, the tattooed homeless man, into his part, like he's like running as if he's like a routine, and then he closes the door in his face and he sighs and he walks up to the elevator. On the wall, there's all this graffiti and shit that's like really vulgar. It's like, cum titties and like all this shit. And then there's one of a dude whose dick is like pointing at his face and the cum is going into his own mouth.
Classic.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like that is how a lot of people saw Beau is Afraid. Is just Ari Aster jacking off into his own face and then calling it a product.
Do you agree with that?
Yes and no.
Okay, can we say?
Okay, so let's. Okay, so there's 4 acts to Beau is Afraid. All right, and I want to know your opinions on the movie. I don't know, no wrong answers.
Okay.
This is not a movie that I expect people
to like.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I wish people liked it.
Okay.
I wish it got what I feel that it deserves, which is all the attention from most of the people in America. But that's not the case.
No.
This isn't, fucking Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
Even though I think it's a better movie than Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Really?
I hated Everything Everywhere All at Once. I hated it.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched that and I went, what the fuck? And, people love that movie. And I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yum. If you like it, that's great. I really don't have any critiques for it. I'm also a really privileged white dude that didn't go through any, immigration shit that people got to deal with, which is very hard for people. I don't know that. I can't relate to that.
Sure.
It's definitely an immigrant movie.
Yeah.
It's about trying to adapt to our shit here in America, which is, I cannot relate to that. So it's really hard for me to have the connection. Big beef I had with it, the rules made no fucking sense.
Yeah.
And that was their rule, but then they didn't even follow that rule. Okay. And I go, if you're making a movie and you're going to make it as wacky as that, then I need to see some consistency. And if your consistency is inconsistency, then I need to see that. And it didn't land on either side. So that really just fucking irked me.
Yeah.
But, again, if you liked it, you're not wrong.
Right. This is all art.
I didn't make it.
Yeah.
I can't shit on it. It's definitely a great fucking movie that won a lot of awards.
It did.
And deserved it.
It won the Oscar?
Yeah, and that's great. And it deserves it. But I didn't enjoy it.
Can I ask what made you think of Everywhere Everything? Why are we comparing those two in particular?
Because people who see Beau is Afraid go, it's too chaotic. It doesn't make sense. And then they watch Everything Everywhere All at Once and they fucking give it a standing ovation.
Why? Why do you think that's happening?
Because they're not connecting to what I just said. They are connecting to the immigrant experience and what it feels like to be an outsider, right? Beau's Afraid is not that. It's anxiety ridden through the eyes of someone who's experienced trauma, schizophrenia, paranoia, anxiety. And
do you feel like you relate to Beau?
Oh, absolutely.
That's so sad.
But not in the mom aspect. Yeah, that's another thing, is that I have a great relationship with my mom.
That's good.
So I didn't, really relate to that.
Yeah.
But the idea of leaving your apartment and going to go get a thing of water and then all the homeless people go inside and wreck, like that's
a real anxiety.
That's it's basically all your worst fears put into real life. I showed it to my mom. I showed the first act to my mom. I knew she couldn't handle the whole movie, but I was like, you got to watch this first act. Okay? Yeah. Because the first act is hilarious.
Yeah, it is really funny.
And she just went, "What is this?" Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But as she's completely engaged the entire time. She's really paying attention, and she's noticing shit that I didn't even notice.
Like what?
Well, the first thing she said was, "We keep going back to that tub. Why do we keep going back to that tub?" And I went, "Oh, yeah, that's a good catch." Because I saw the movie twice in theaters, all right? First time I saw it, I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to solve it, like you can solve Hereditary. Hereditary you can solve. There's a real answer there, that the mom was in the cult, and she set all them up, and they're doomed from the start, which is just like Beau is Afraid's theme. Beau is fucked from the beginning.
From literally when he's born.
Right when he's born. There's nothing, which is wonderful, because we are all victims of that. We all suffer from universal causation. Some people argue that we don't even have free will.
Do you feel that as well?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I can make that judgment, but I will say that, like, where were you born?
Riverside, California.
Okay. What hospital? Do you know?
Oh, fuck, dude. I'd have to check my birth certificate.
Okay, so Riverside, California, in a hospital.
Yeah.
You know how many days you spent in the hospital?
No.
Probably like up to a week or so, maybe.
Probably.
Maybe 3 days, you were
Average
fine.
baby shit,
yeah, sure. And then what happened after that?
My mom took me home.
Okay. And then what?
And then she raised me.
Great. So you just said like 4 things where you didn't do shit.
Yeah.
You didn't pick where you were born. You didn't pick when you were born. You didn't pick when they picked you up from that and put you in a crib. So how is any other decision you made your own? If the first 100, maybe even 1,000 decisions, even more, I mean, we're all fucking babies.
Yeah.
Were not decided by you. So this very conversation right now that you and I are having is a result of that first decision that wasn't made by you.
The foundation of lack of control makes kind of like a domino effect.
Yeah, and then it slowly leaks into this weird illusion of free will.
Mm-hmm.
And we as humans go, yeah, I got choice. I absolutely have choice. Beau had no choice.
Yeah.
If you watch that movie, Beau didn't make a single fucking decision until the very end when he chokes his mom. That's the only decision he makes the entire movie.
Now, do you think that is I'm sure that's a very clear decision that was made on Ari Aster's part. Why do you think that was the moment? What do you think about that? What's the meaning behind that?
Well, he just found out that his whole life he had no choice or say. So it was revealed to him that his therapist was giving the information to his mom, which, and by the way, if you watch it over again, and you go back to that very first therapy scene, and he's like, writing, how do you feel? And then he writes guilty on it. First of all, guilty is not only a feeling, it's a verdict, which at the end he is also guilty.
Yeah.
Okay. But in that conversation, there's a shot, I think it's like a 15 to 20 second shot of the therapist just talking to him. It's a side profile shot, and behind him is a blinking camera that is being recorded and then sent to his mom. So from the very beginning of the movie, the rules are there, unlike Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay.
You watch the movie, you go, okay, this universe makes sense.
Yeah.
This universe is thorough. In the street scene, when that homeless, and we were talking about the homeless guy chasing after Beau, right before he does that, what does he do? He gets soup, and then he goes, oh, fucking hot, and he drops the soup. Who hands him the soup?
I don't remember.
Jeeves, the butler, the angry butler from that war, and the blonde-haired mother from The Office. She hands Beau the soup. The wife of Nathan Lane. She's watching him the entire fucking time. Okay?
How many times have you seen this movie?
I've seen it 4 times.
Okay, can you break down, what was the experience? So you saw it twice in theaters. That first time, what happened?
I tried to figure it out. Okay. It can't be figured out. I got to that basement scene where the dad is the giant ball sack. Okay? That pissed a lot of people off. I loved that.
Why did it piss people off, and why do you love it?
Well, because everyone was trying to solve the movie, and then they threw that at you, and you go, okay, I can't, this isn't even reality anymore. All right? But I thought it's great because you're looking at it from Beau's perspective. And, yeah, of course his dad is going to be an angry ballsack monster because he doesn't know his dad. He's never really seen him. So in his mind, he's thinking, oh, my dad died when he came, so I've only heard the perspective of my mother who controls everything. And, of course, his mom has resentment to whatever actually happened to his father. Okay? So that's going to be the vision he has. It's like you're being raised by a mother who tells you all the time your dad's a piece of shit. Even Eminem talks about this.
Yeah.
Mom was like, dad's a piece of shit, dad's a piece of shit. And then when he got older, he realized, no, I don't even know my dad. It's my mom. Right? So that I thought was like a fuck you to anyone trying to figure it out. And I felt that fuck you.
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay, you don't want me to solve this.
So at the moment the ball sack monster came up, then you feel like you eased into it, which took literally the whole
I gave
movie.
up.
Oh, you gave up.
I went, what is this?
Yeah.
I just went, what the fuck? And I got a little mad, but then I got a little happy, and I was like, all right, what the? And then after that, Jeeves come in, the monster kills Jeeves, and then Beau goes down and has that last conversation with his mom where he chokes her out. She ends up in the fish tank. I still don't understand the fish tank.
Water?
Well, water is definitely an apparent symbol in it. A very useful symbol. And by the way, that is good symbolism. It's not lazy symbolism.
Everything Everywhere All at Once? Are we about to...
Well, I don't know. Okay, so here's Everything Everywhere All at Once. What's that fucking thing with the rule in the universe where they're like, oh,
you have to do something...
and then it... Right? I'm sorry.
You got to do something random and then something
whatever.
Else. Yeah.
Okay, and I don't even know the meaning of that. I don't even think there was a fucking meaning. Again, not following the rules. People are going to hate me.
Yeah, man, because I love everything.
I know, and it's great. And you can love that movie. I'm not shitting on you or your taste. You're not wrong. I might be wrong. I'm not a critic. Yeah. Right? But that, to me, was not thorough.
Sure.
Compared to when Beau made his mother upset in the first act. And he's on the phone and he's like, yeah, I don't know if I can go. My keys got stolen. she goes, okay, and she's passive-aggressive, and then he gets his card declined. He gets all this shit. He starts freaking out, so he takes his pill. He goes to get water. There's no water. It's gone. Water's been turned off. Okay? So the water's taken away. Love is taken away. And then it's given in an even more toxic way, which is overflow. As soon as he finds out his mom dies, the bathtub is flowing through the apartment.
That YouTube video you showed me essentially saying there's nothing in balance. It's
huge
either too
imbalance.
much or not
Or
enough.
not enough.
Right.
Which is the epitome of toxic relationships.
Yeah.
You either get no fucking love at all whatsoever, or you get all the love in the world.
It's just too much.
And it's just not healthy.
So that first go-around, it seemed like you had a lot of feelings about it, and then you went back.
And then I went back.
Okay.
Because I went, all right, is this a good movie or is this not a good movie? I loved everything about the layers and the details of the universe it made. Not necessarily the story, but the settings. I love that first act where that city is just so fucked up. It looks like every American city times 1,000. Okay, and then they have like the graffiti that just says like "pussy dick" and like murder cops, love everything, and which is a wonderful phrase. But to see that inside of a city that is tearing each other apart, yeah, it was crazy. And then I went back and I went, okay, are these rules adding up? Is everything thorough? Is the line of the story connected so much to where I go, okay, this character claimed this, so that means that this has to be here. And that is how or why I love seeing that camera with a therapist, because Beau's mom, Mona, reveals that she's been fucking having this therapist work for her the entire time. So I need to see something in that therapy scene that alludes to that. Well, lo and behold, a tiny camera is blinking behind him.
So you like setups and payoffs. Clear setups and payoffs.
I like if you fucking make a world,
yeah,
okay, and you make a decision, that decision better have consequences or results in whatever world is there. And I need to see that as an audience member. If you claim this, therefore this has to happen.
Okay.
Because you can't just be like, haha, therapist worked for the whole time, right? And I just accept that. You can, but it's a little lazier.
Yes. So I've only watched it once.
That's fine.
And that first go through, I remember thinking this is random.
Sure.
It didn't feel like what you're describing about rules and setups and punch in the world. It didn't feel like that the first time I watched it.
Sure.
It felt like chaos for the sake of chaos. And then when you showed me that YouTube video and the way you talk about it now in retrospect, I'm like, oh, I see the dots. I see how it all connected.
Sure.
That second go around, when you knew what was going to happen, that was when you started connecting the dots?
Well, I remember seeing, okay, so let's go back to Hereditary.
Okay, back to Hereditary.
Okay, so going back to Hereditary, because you kind of do have to talk about all his work in order to see the patterns. In Hereditary, there were things that I'm mentioning right now that were little, Easter eggs revealing the story. Like the symbol on the grandma's necklace in the funeral. One of the first shots in Hereditary is at the funeral, and the little weird girl is looking into the casket, and the grandma is lying there peacefully, and she's got that symbol. Then there's that creepy dude, the creepy bald dude, who looks at the little girl and is like almost licking his lips. All right? If I'm watching as an audience member, first go around, I'm thinking, oh shit, that guy is creepy. This is a creepy movie. This movie's just creepy. That's lazy. That's not what happened. That dude is a cult member who knows that the devil is taking over, one of the devils, whoever fucking devil it was, is taking over that little girl's body. And the grandma's symbol is that cult symbol that you see on then the rug of the woman who takes in fucking, what's her name, Toni Collette's character.
It's also on the pole.
Exactly. It's on the pole. It's everything.
Yeah.
So if I see a symbol like that, I need to know what it's connected to. Can't just be the symbol of the cult. This is now just the symbol of the cult. If you're going to just put that on a fucking building headquarters and have the cult inside, that's lazy to me. Mm-hmm. That needs to have meaning in it. So that symbol is not only the symbol of the cult, it's also used to enact the rituals that lead to the inevitable sacrifice of the entire family in order to bring whatever fucking demons like Batusov or some shit, I don't know, snake back into the world. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking random and Beau is afraid, I don't know if there is anything that's totally random.
No, everything felt very... It's funny, that first go, it felt random, but everything also felt meticulous. There's no way you can accidentally put all of this detail in a frame. You can't.
Yeah, and I thought random as well a little bit in that first act for a second. But then in the fourth act, when he's... Yeah, that's what I mean. It's all tied. When he's in Mona's house, thinks she's dead, and he's just like exploring her downstairs trophy room. There's that photo of Mona... that is a collage of all her employees. Mm-hmm. Most of those employees are characters. Actually, I would argue, if you were to really look at it, all of them are characters that you see throughout the movie. One of them is the tattooed man that was in the street. Okay? So they're all hired by Mona to create Beau's world. Mona is essentially the controller of everything.
Puppet master a little
bit. Yes, that's much better. The puppet master of everything that Beau goes through.
Which he had no control over.
And he has no control over it. Right.
Now, I'll describe it as an obsession of logic almost. I don't know if logic.
I'm not Ben Shapiro, sure.
More like you need things justified. You need the rules to be clear. You want them to be followed through. What about that makes you feel like, I don't know how to put this. You know when you have a microwave and you're microwaving popcorn and then you press the button right at 00.
Sure.
There's something.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, or when you are at the gas station pump and you hit like $20.
Is it that? Is it that feeling?
Maybe.
Of like,
it's it's a little similar.
Yeah.
I would say, but it's just look, like, I just see a lot of fucking people sprinkle shit on and call it a cake.
Yeah.
And if you're a good chef, each ingredient has a purpose to balance the taste of whatever. If you add peppers, it's to make the meat sweeter or more savory, whatever the fuck. Okay? So if you're making a movie and you have something as wild as homeless people going into the house and wrecking it, there better be a fucking reason, not to maybe them having a purpose to it. They can all have different objectives. They can maybe just want a place to stay. That's great. But why are they there? Why is Beau in this housing place in the first place? And there's an answer to that. And it's because it's Mona's fucking housing spot for people who are going through drug problems. It's one of those communities where you get the riffraff or anyone who's having a hard time in life together to help them. And Beau is the victim of Mona using him throughout her career in commercial ads, in everything. And so then he can't make any decisions on his own. He can't make a life for himself because his mom's been fucking coddling him and abusing him the entire time. And so then she throws him in a community home that she controls and is still doing it.
Still fucking with him.
Still fucking with him.
Right.
Not even fucking with him in a malicious sense. Just needing him almost to need her.
Yeah. It's like a narcissistic.
It's extremely narcissistic. Yeah. She is absolutely she's God. She's God. In this movie.
Very vengeful, angry God.
Right.
Now, I have an example of something that is kind of the antithesis to what you've talked about.
Sure.
Have you seen
Everything Everywhere All at Once? We were talking. I'm kidding.
Have you seen I Think You Should Leave?
I Think You Should Leave.
Tim Robinson?
I have, yes.
Which feels like the exact opposite of what you're describing, where it feels like random for random's sake.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Are you seeing things I don't when
Well, I think you should leave is hilarious.
It is very funny.
And like the circumstances, are based on his wants as a person. So like when he wants to wear the fedora in the business and everyone is shitting on it as a hat and then he like flips out, right? That's funny to me because that is a character actually wanting something. That's an objective based character want.
Okay.
I don't know if Beau, it's really
There's
in
a
acting.
weird comparison, but
No, I hear you, but in acting you need objectives.
Yeah.
As a character. It's really hard for me to nail Beau's objective down. And that's insane to me. I watch a lot of movies, and I will say that most of them, I can list a character's objective. Toni Collette wants the chaos to stop and her family to get better in Hereditary. And Midsommar, whatever her name is trying to, I don't remember, is trying to, either be free or fix her relationship, or escape the trauma of her sister killing her mother and father.
If your characters don't have a clear want or desire, it's hard to lock in with them.
Right, and in fact, it's usually bad acting. Actually, it's always bad acting when you don't have an objective. That should be the first thing that you do.
Do you make films?
No, I just act.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have like a top 5 favorite films list? Because I'm feeling there's a pattern here.
I mean, I love, Beau's Afraid's probably my number one.
Of all time?
Of all time.
Damn.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Get Out.
Okay.
I think Get Out is a more approachable version of Beau's Afraid. It's much more digestible, especially to American audiences, because the symbolism in Get Out is wonderfully done. But there's some symbolism that's much easier to access, like the deer that is watching him when he's in the chair, right? That in the Civil War era, they used to call black people bucks to catch them.
I didn't even know that.
Right, and there's some shit you gotta, you're like, why is that there? And then you look it up, you're like, oh fuck, that's a really cool detail.
Yeah.
That symbolism though is more about the theme of the movie versus the actual world it's affecting. Whereas Water in Beau's Afraid is not only about love, it's also about the trauma he went through. No one can say for sure what Beau's Afraid is about. Is it about generational trauma? Probably. Is it about schizophrenia, paranoia, anxiety? Yeah, maybe. Is it about sexual assault? Yeah, it might be. And it's because it looks like in that bathtub scene when the mom was like,
thinking of the other one with the spider. Sorry.
Well, but that's perfect tie-in because when he's sitting in that bathtub and she's trying to take his clothes off, he dies in that. She puts himself, his brother, up in the attic. That is a different version of Beau that never got to live because his mom sexually assaulted him in the tub. Right? This is what I'm saying, where you're like, holy fuck. Yeah. And it's because as American audiences, we go, I don't like this. This makes me uncomfortable. Therefore, it's a bad movie. Fuck that shit. Good movies used to split audiences down the middle. And then they could go out to lunch or brunch and have a fucking conversation about it. Now we just go, oh, I didn't feel good. What the fuck? Paintings don't need to make you feel good. Yeah. You need to be able to see what is happening. And if you can tangibly taste that trauma or that emotion that is being revealed to you because someone has taken the fucking time to make sure the details are thorough to where you can't argue. You can't argue one way or the other. I can't tell you for sure this is about sexual assault or molestation, but I can say that in that carnival scene, there is a hidden detail where if you look in the back, there's this fucking creepy chubby guy in a bathrobe licking ice cream, staring at Beau.
Did not know.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, and you have to actually pause the movie to catch some of them.
Right.
But he's there the entire time watching Beau. Did that guy molest Beau? No. He probably symbolizes the perversion that Beau is feeling the whole time while he's on this trip, and his mom is kind of doing this Oedipus complex shit with him, where she's laying in a bed saying, "You're my one man. Don't ever find another woman." Yeah. And then another woman comes in who's his age, and she's like, "Who is she? How dare," and we go as audience members, what the fuck is happening? But you have to keep in mind, this is coming from Beau's perspective.
Right.
So as a child, he may not remember getting raped or molested. It may be revealed to him or remembered by him as just his friend coming in the room and getting pulled away.
Right.
And that's not what happened. What happened was that he was assaulted.
It sounds like you really enjoy like the 70s era of filmmaking, like let me not say the 70s, but do you know what I'm saying by this? When I reference the 70s, do you know what I'm talking about? That auteur, that the Scorsese's and the songs.
Martin Scorsese said that this movie is gonna be hated right now, and then later loved, and probably will have classes dissect it.
I could see that.
And that's what I'm getting at. Is that Scorsese is a genius. I'm tired of McDonald's movies. I'm tired of, like, everybody liked what was that other A24, that horror movie?
Talk to Me?
Yeah, Talk to Me. Everybody loves Talk to Me. Everybody was like, Talk to Me is fucking brilliant. Oh my god. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me right now? That shit didn't scare me once, okay? Yeah. Not only did it not scare me, the only visceral scene was when the kid was getting the shit beaten out of him.
I've never seen it. So.
That was it. That was the only visceral scene. Okay. All right? Everything else was just fucking McDonald's lazy jump scares.
You want something to make you feel.
Beau is Afraid made you, like, want to get out of the theater. At shit as simple of him hugging his fake sons for 5 minutes straight going, "My boys, my boy." And he's sitting there, and I'm going, like, make it stop. This is so uncomfortable.
Okay. Now, for me to speak, I'll speak towards as the layman or the mass people here in response to what you're saying.
Well, how did you see it?
How did I see it?
Yeah. Okay. What were you like? Because I know Rachel didn't like it.
She hates Ari Aster. She hates him. She hates Ari Aster. I told her to watch Meet the Johnsons, and she hated that. She said he needed to apologize to the black community. And then I was like, okay, but you'll love Hereditary. It's really good. She hated Hereditary.
Oh, man, that's so funny.
And then I haven't made her watch Midsommar, but I'll do that eventually.
That's funny.
I'll catch her when she's least expecting it.
Sure.
How did I feel? I was highly entertained and engaged for, would you say, the city portions of the first act?
Yeah, first act is the city. Right before he gets hit by the car.
Yes,
and his ball sacks are flopping. Yeah, big ball sack. Also, more detail. He's never jacked off, so they made his balls huge.
I forgot that
his balls are huge.
Enormous.
They're huge.
So, that first part of it, I was really anxious.
Sure.
I was entertained and engaged, and a lot of it was darkly humorous.
It was.
Nearing the end of the first act, I was like, where is this
going?
Sure. Then he gets hit, and then he gets brought into the family's house.
Yeah, Nathan Lane, Tony, the daughter.
At that point, I was not checked out.
Sure.
I was like, okay, well, I guess I know we're in a new space. The space itself felt so different.
Sure.
It felt homey and inviting and comfortable.
Right, absolutely.
Minus the Beau's Afraidness of it all.
Right, the crazy ass, butler, rescue guy Jeeves.
And then the daughter and all, like, that part, I was not checked out, but I was just like, I think I was trying to sink in. I was just like, I guess things will keep happening.
So do you understand why that dynamic existed, or if you were to guess, why would they put him in that environment right after the first act?
If I'm to make a guess, it is the mom manipulating him in some way involving a happy home. Maybe saying, like,
great, that's pretty That's pretty accurate.
Spot on.
Well, it's she hired that family. That family, Nathan Lane works for Mona.
Yes.
Okay? So every time Nathan Lane is taking a phone call, he's talking to Mona. Every single time. All right? And you know that because the mom hands Beau, stop incriminating yourself. Okay? And after every phone call, Nathan Lane's going, sorry, buddy, we can't go today.
That's right.
And then Beau's not making a decision yet again. Okay? Not proving his love to Mona.
I remember being frustrated.
Right. It's very frustrating. Yeah. You're like, just come on, dude.
Just go.
Fucking do some shit.
Yeah.
Let's go. Just fucking go see her.
And I felt bad for Beau the whole way through.
Sure. And you should, because he's really out of it. He's not doing any of this.
No.
He's just trying to sleep, and somebody's knocking on his door going, turn the music down when there's no fucking music. That's insane.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
And that's just Mona having someone do that because she wants to keep him up late before he has to go to the airport, which he misses because sleep is more important to him than seeing his mom.
Just fucking with him.
Yeah.
Then he goes to the woods and sees the play.
Yes.
That was my favorite part.
That was one of my favorites, too. That's almost everybody's least favorite part.
The play?
The play.
It was my favorite part because it was the first time it didn't feel dour.
Sure, it felt a little hopeful because it's
yeah.
what his life could have been if he didn't have these setbacks or handicaps, if you will. Mm-hmm. If he didn't know or was told, believe rather, that his as soon as he came he was going to die. Imagine living your life where if you come you think you're going to die. That's going to cause some crippling effects.
Yes.
Okay?
Hold on a second.
So that was essentially him having a life where he got to learn a trade and have a family, but there was still tragedy in it. The family gets washed away, and then he finds them later. So it was almost as if it was showing him that there were going to be problems, but it wasn't going to be like this. And that was, again, in his head, an imagination of what life could have been.
That was the moment. That was my favorite part of the film because I got to relax.
Sure. Yeah, you got to be told a beautiful story.
A beautiful, reasonable story.
Right.
And then we go right back to it, and then the guy starts shooting.
And the guy shows up and blows up what was probably his real dad.
Oh.
Yeah, that dude that was at the play that sat next to him was like, yeah, I used to work for your mom. That's probably his real dad.
I'd have to rewatch it.
Yeah, so when he arrives to the play area, the forest, which also, that play is advertised in the city. If you go back to the first act and Beau is walking out and he's like taking the pills and there's that like boy with the gun and the mom's like, hi, Carrot, I really missed you and all this shit. Yeah. If you keep walking, there are flyers for that play. Also, the whole movie the whole movie is revealed, and Ari Aster actually does this a lot. It's revealed in a matter of seconds. The plot of the movie, the basic plot of the movie.
Okay.
When he comes out from the therapist's office and he's taking those pills and he's walking in that first city shot, there is a fountain and a little boy playing with a toy boat.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
and then the mom goes, Joseph! And then finds him and goes, I told you to never leave my sight. Takes him away. Yeah. The boat flips over.
And sinks.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. Then from there he gets to the mom's house?
From the play, yes. He is running through the woods away from Jeeves, who just bombed the whole area, blew up what could have been his real dad. We don't know that for sure, but it's alluded to that.
So then he has sex with the lady.
Yeah, and then he gets to his mom's and he has sex with Ellen. No, his name is Elle. I think something like that. The girl that he was in love with, the only real love, and instead of him dying, she dies.
Right, which was another horrific.
That's something I haven't really figured out either. Yeah. I don't know if Mona. I want to say Mona just killed her,
but how?
I don't know. And it's one of those, like, just like the ball sack monster, where it's in Beau's perspective. It could have been the guilt of the situation. It could have just been, him finally getting pleasure, and then Mona wanted her to die, as soon as he got that pleasure, because she was definitely planted by Mona. For that, so it probably was planned to kill her. So that way Beau sees that when he disobeys his mom or doesn't believe her, that there is consequences, even if those consequences can't be killing Beau, because Mona wouldn't kill Beau, because then there wouldn't be any lessons or anyone to control.
It's like the Batman and the Joker. They both
exactly.
need
each other. Right.
And then by the end of it, my feeling, and I didn't know when it was gonna end. There was a point where I was like, how this is a really long.
Sure, it's very long
movie,
which is another thing that Americans can't handle.
Yeah, the length is a lot.
They can't sit for 3 hours in a fucking movie theater without being distracted, which drives me insane.
Yeah,
because there are plays in Russia that last 6 hours, and feel like, I remember I saw a play in Russia where one of the acts was.
You were in Russia.
Mm-hmm. And one of the acts was, this is before all the bad shit.
Yeah, I'd assume.
But one of the acts of the play was probably, an hour and a half to 2 hours long, and it felt like 30 minutes. I sat down thinking that this was going to be, all right, here we go again, and it didn't feel that long.
Okay, so I'm going to say more of my feelings.
Yeah, go for it.
And then I will express probably what the mainstream probably perceives.
Sure.
My feelings of it are on a personal level. I don't think it hit the same way it hit you.
Sure.
But I get it. I get this feeling of like, I don't want to eat McDonald's. Give me something to think about for a second.
Right.
I couldn't tell you what happened in Quantumania.
Sure.
I could not tell you. And I get that, and I feel it, especially in comedy.
Yeah.
All of the comedy specials and comedians I refer to as my favorites. And when I look at them, I'm like, oh, this is not wall-to-wall jokes. This is a lot of talking and meandering.
Sure.
And so I get it. I get it. Now, what do you say to someone who's like, this is for escapism? Film is escapism. Comedy is escapism. What is your response to that?
No, that's fine. You can have that view. I mean, I'm the opposite with comedy. I like comedy to just be wall-to-wall jokes. Those are my favorite specials.
Really?
Yeah, I just want jokes.
That's so strange to me.
Well, I'm not making a movie. I'm making comedy.
Okay,
that's
the
difference.
It's a different art form.
But yeah, I mean, you can have meaningful shit in a comedy. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's definitely been some things where my favorite jokes are the ones that make me laugh, and then also go, oh shit, why did I just laugh at that? That's fucked up. You know.
Do you feel like your comedy is McDonald's?
Yes, my comedy's garbage. My comedy is wall-to-wall jokes because I don't want to preach anything to anybody. I'm not trying to preach shit.
Okay.
I like people to think.
Sure.
And I definitely have some jokes where people go, fuck, maybe I shouldn't have laughed at that.
Sure.
Or maybe I need to rethink how mad I get about something. But I'm not trying to change anybody's minds or act like I know what's better. I don't know what's better.
My response to that, though, is that, like, Beau's Afraid isn't trying to force. It's just expressing a feeling.
It's literally Ari Aster jacking off into his mouth.
And feeling bad
it's
about
it. It's all his shit that is masturbatory and it's what he knows. And it's put on a platter and then it's given to them.
So then within comedy, do you feel like you could achieve the comedic equivalent of Beau's Afraid for yourself?
No way. No way. I don't think I could ever achieve anything as close to as Beau's Afraid in general, which is, again, I don't like to critique certain things, even Everything Everywhere All at Once, because I could never make that level of a movie.
Yeah.
And if I do one day, then maybe I will. But right now, I haven't made shit, so who the fuck am I?
I would love to see a film directed by you. Because it would be because you.
I mean, I got some sex tapes I could show you.
All the best angles.
I need to delete
giant testicles.
yeah.
But I mean, I get that you're an actor. I get it, but the way you think seems like a director.
Well, I've been told that when I studied in Russia. Actually, the master teacher, the Mahat, told me to quit acting and to do direction.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't say I was a bad actor, but he was like, you need to really delve in directing. And I have directed, etudes and plays, and anytime I do shit like Paper Machete, it's all very theatrical because that's when I get to stretch that muscle or work that muscle. But with comedy, it's just I just want to make sure that whoever is there is laughing.
Right.
And I want another thing I want to stress is that I have a really controversial view in stand-up that is actually a thespian, even though they're fucking annoying. Their view, and it's a Stanislavski, almost a commandment, which is the audience is always right. And
really?
yeah, and people hate that when I say that. They fucking, and they will probably hate it when I say no. And I get it. There's some audiences that are rude, on their phones, drunk, whatever. But at the end of the day, you can do some shit to get their attention.
Yeah.
And this is a absolute that I try to live by because it's unfortunately self-serving, which makes it altruistic. Because if I treat the audience like they're always right and I don't blame them, then I get to self-reflect. If I go, that was just a bad audience, I'm not looking in at anything I could have changed or grow. So why would I do that? You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Because I try to hold back from blaming the audience. When I do bad, I really try hard to not be like, well, they just don't get it or whatever. Because, no, it's my job.
Sure.
This is my job to get you to be entertained.
It's the greatest customer service job we can have.
Yes. But I also believe, I think it was Rick Rubin that said this, that the audience doesn't know what they want. I think that I agree, they're always right, but they don't know what they want.
That's fair. Yeah.
That if they knew what they want, they would be doing it. They would know how to, the magic trick that is comedy and the words or whatever. They would know how to do all of that and do it with themselves. I think it was on Talking Funny with Louis and Chris Rock and Jerry Seinfeld and guys. I think it was Louis said that what we do is like a high octane version of what they do at their barbecue with their family.
Right.
And I don't know if I have a point other than I
think you're not wrong. I don't, again, anyone's gonna be like, okay, Dan, what about that fucking drunk dude at the dive bar that's yelling shit? Yeah, okay, well, he's not an audience member anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, he's no longer listening.
He's combative.
He is now competition, and he's actually not on their side or yours.
Yeah.
So that dude should be removed.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now, is there a way to solve that issue? Yeah, there is, and you can figure it out. And I don't see what is so fucked up for someone to admit that maybe they're not always having their shit together on stage, or they're not always correct, or they owe you some shit. Motherfucker, they paid money to see you. You owe them. You serve them. Yeah. Okay? And you can do shit that is true to yourself while still giving to others. I'm not saying you should pander or change your whole act for other people's liking. That's gross. That's fucked up. Do what you want to do, but find the audience and adjust to them. And if somebody doesn't fuck with your shit, they may never fuck with your shit, and that's fine. But they're not wrong for not fucking with your shit. Okay? I'm not wrong for not liking everything everywhere all at once. Just like no one's wrong for not liking Beau is Afraid.
Right.
Okay? You're right.
Okay, so it sounds like, because we're going to wrap it up a little bit.
Sure, that's fine.
It sounds like, if I'm to put in your own words, everyone can enjoy what they enjoy.
Yes.
For you can't do for film specifically, you can't do the McDonald's of film. It just doesn't sit right with your stomach.
I can do it. I just don't, it won't hit me as hard. Yeah, it won't.
It won't hit you.
Yeah.
And there is something about Beau is Afraid.
Yeah.
That, and it seems like it might be years. I might have to check in with you a few years from now.
Sure.
To see, how do you feel about it now? But it seems like there was something there that hit you in such a way that you just cannot put into
words. It's the detail. It's the details. So you cannot like the movie. You cannot like Beau is Afraid. You can't argue to me that it's a poorly made movie. No one could fucking argue that shit to me. They could try, and they would lose.
Can I get an example of a poorly made movie? Not Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like is Rush Hour 2 a poorly made movie?
I mean, see, that's a whole. Let's look at like some kind of horror.
Okay.
Aspect.
That's
so
fair.
Like, Okay, the movie that just came out on Netflix,
The one.
The World of the End, or the End of the World shit with Julia Roberts. Yeah. Okay, I hated that.
Why? I didn't see it, but why?
So basically, the whole movie, there's all this shit going on, and to sum it up, one disaster happens after another. All right, the internet goes down. Eventually, power is like lost in certain cities. They decided to take a trip, so they're isolated from it all, but they're hearing about all these problems, and then eventually they lose connection to the outside world, okay? And then all these deer start fucking coming in giant packs, basically showing that nature is a little off balance right now. They finally figure out that there's disinformation flyers falling from the sky, and it was a cyber attack that wiped out all of our internet. All right, and basically what the movie is trying to shove down the audience's throat is that disinformation is bad, we're stupid without the internet, and that eventually one day we're all going to kill each other, okay? And that if there is disaster, you can't trust anybody. Cool. Like, fucking cool, dude. We knew that. We already knew that. Yeah. So why are you stroking the dicks of all the weird web guys who are saying this? Beau's Afraid has no message. There's no, you need to fucking rethink that, or you need to do this.
It's self-reflection.
It's self-reflection. Get Out is a perfect self-reflection movie. You know, as a white liberal, I had to be like, oh, fuck. I got to rethink my shit. You know what I mean? I gotta deal with my inner racism.
Through self-reflection, you see something in yourself that you have to
that I need to rethink.
Right.
Or maybe I need to rethink how my family acts. You know, and but it's not being like, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Bitch. Like, it's not doing that. Okay? It's not.
Yeah.
And Beau's Afraid isn't doing that either. It's just going, generational trauma is a fucking thing.
Yes.
People deal with anxiety. It's a very empathetic movie. It's extremely empathetic.
I would agree.
Get Out is extremely empathetic.
I would agree with that as well.
That's what makes a good movie to me. And so I don't think in a couple years I'm going to hate Beau's Afraid. I think I'm going to still fucking be discovering new things. And also, that's nothing. Every time I watch it, I learn something new.
About yourself?
About the movie.
Yeah.
About like, oh shit, there's a creepy guy in the carnival that's watching Beau the entire time. That must mean something. There's a dead man in the pool. What the fuck does that mean? Yeah. Why is it anytime someone dies, it's usually in a tub of water? But also at the very beginning of the movie, Beau is afraid. He's made in water. He comes out of that's the first thing you see is him coming out of the womb.
Yeah, and then tragedy strikes as soon as it's literally they drop him, right?
They drop him on the ground, and then they're like, oh shit, and then the mom's freaking out. That's the first thing he experiences.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of connections to the Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of random, but I was scrolling through the Reddit for this, and this guy who like discovers all these theories about the movie. He's watched it probably like 500 times, and he's pointing out the different scenes in Wizard of Oz, like the hurricane.
Yeah.
You know, that like changed everything. Well, right before Beau runs out and then gets hit by the car, he is going through a hurricane in the bathtub of that fat guy that falls on him. There's a giant sequence where they're just spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. It's crazy.
I'm gonna check in on you in a few years with this movie. All right. So do you recommend Beau's Afraid? Dan?
Yeah, I do, and I recommend it. Try not to be like above it.
Yeah.
Try to fucking just let it happen.
Yeah.
You know, people have called this movie pretentious. That's garbage. It's detailed. Learn the fucking difference, and sit. Learn to sit, and don't use your phone
at all during it.
Just put the phone away. Yeah. Let it fucking happen. This is a whole world you get to look at. A very vulgar and fun world.
All right. Beau's Afraid.
It's okay. I gotta travel out here.